Welcome to this 8th video, which is the final video providing us information on 3F Future Fintech Framework and how you can get the 3F edge. I'm glad that you have gone through the complete series of initial 7 videos, and now we come to this final and the most important video, which will actually give you an idea of how what this 3F edge is all about. What are the benefits of this 3F edge and how you can get this 3F edge, right? And this is something which will actually end up benefiting you much more than the initial insights which you gained as part of these series of initial intro videos. So let's begin. How do you get the 3F edge? So first, before we begin that, we need to know what 3F edge is. So I've just tried to give you a drive home an analogy, right? So just like how a agile methodology or agile framework helps you with a thought process and approach to understand and manage a particular project. It helps you break project into smaller parts and sprints and then manage it in a more efficient and effective way. It's not like without agile, it's not like you were not good project managers. Maybe some of you were excellent project managers, but agile helped you bring structure to it. You know, I don't want to get into the background of emphasizing again the difference between knowledge and framework. So so agile is one such framework which helps you in terms of understanding and managing projects better. Similarly, 3F Future Fintech Framework is basically nothing but it enables you with a thought process, approach, a model, you can call it in a simple way a checklist, for creating innovative and engaging solutions, fostering collaboration. Basically, as I said, digital projects are all about collaboration between different parties and departments and divisions, internal, external stakeholders, vendors, and accelerating growth in the new digital age. And if you notice, every single element example I tried to give through all my earlier introduction sections or 7 videos are emphasizing on these elements in terms of ideating, innovating, creating engaging solutions. How do you collaborate? How do you basically accelerate growth, right? And that's what 3F Future Fintech helps you with. Just to drive home the fact with an analogy. And I'm sure most of us, if we are not students, if we have been working for a few years, many of us have gone through this agile methodology. So the reason I highlight this is 3F Future Fintech Framework is one such framework which has to be so openly, widely imbibed as part of culture of any organization, and it will basically help you innovate, ideate, collaborate, and that culture will be driven in an organization, right? So that's where that's all about what 3F edge is. So eventually it will help in enhancing digital maturity for yourself, enhancing digital maturity for organizations, right, and the likes of those. Here are some quick benefits of 3F edge. So we did have a look at what 3F edge is all about, and we saw the example of how organizations train on agile to basically cultivate and develop a thought process and approach for managing projects in a better way. Same way, 3F Future Fintech Framework is equally important as a framework to be imbibed in or learnt for individuals and organizations, so as to foster a culture of innovation, collaboration, engagement, and growth. Now we come to this next part in terms of the benefits of the 3F edge, because I had told you as part of my earlier slides that there are certain detailed workshops and few other means through which you can gain the 3FH. We'll talk about it as part of the concluding slides in terms of how you can gain 3FH. But before that, let me just quickly take you through the actual benefits. Right? We saw some benefits at the intro slides in terms of getting clarity, ability to act, ability to stand out, growth, and so ability to manage things. So all that is there, but there are some specific benefits which I've tried to relate it to various career roles, various segments, either as a banking segment or as a IT company, or a startup or a BFSI or a fintech company, or a college or professional institutes, certain related industries and professionals I've tried to give. And within that, I've tried to, for example, who will benefit, I've tried to talk about various professions. For example, professions like product management, innovations, digital solutions, marketing, operations, compliance, people across sales, pre-sales, solutions architect, business analysts, product managers, project managers, right? All those. So the benefits is it'll help you ideate, create new solutions and improve existing one. It'll help you successfully translate ideas into engaging user journeys, resulting in higher wallet share, LTV and NPS, basically a win-win for both you, your organization, your customers. Better sales retention, compliance and profits, right? As I said, if you slowly imbibe it as a culture, that's how it results in better collaboration between stakeholders. This is a very big challenge, as I said, in a digital project. And when you go and talk to organizational senior leadership or owners, or probably the HR teams, you'll probably appreciate and understand how important this breaking of silos and collaboration is, especially in a fintech and digital age, right? It's not just for the success of projects, it helps you compete, it helps you develop a better culture, people are happy, right? So these are some of the other side benefits. You can create engaging and innovating prototypes, engaging demos. Once you know this framework and you're going to talk to your clients, you can have enriching client interactions, discussions across sales and pre-sales, because as I said, I've given you the knowledge, so you can correlate it and fix it and try to portray it as a proper story eventually, right? It's a story or a picture you try to create in terms of how your solution is better for your customers, or when you create a prototype, and this thought process helps you there. It helps you in better requirement gathering, UI UX articulation and documentation, and some of these points I've already touched upon earlier, but here I've tried to condense it and provide it as a single snapshot. And then obviously better collaboration among stakeholders. So this is especially across corporates in BFSI, startups, IT companies, fintechs, or digital companies and the likes of those. Even college university students, right? I discussed this in introduction session. So graduates and or postgraduates across management, accounts, economics, commerce, art, design, legal, engineering, right? And all those who are actually interested in making a career in the fintech and digital or startup world, this is a must-have, because this gives you makes things simple. It gives you clarity, direction, a structure to basically pursue certain other things in depth, and how to correlate it with others, right? That part will be missing always in your life, and this framework has simplified that for you to a great extent, right? It's like you go to a town or a city, you can always ask the taxi driver or someone else the way, but if you had Google Map, it's a structure. In fact, Google Map, maybe it goes one step ahead, but that map, assuming you had a map of that city, maneuvering becomes easy. So framework is just like that, right? Related professionals like HR professionals will also somewhat stand to benefit through this, especially when you're creating solution of your own to engage with stakeholders, which can be likely prospective candidates, or today you're creating platforms so you can provide content, engagement. So all that story will, that helps. One second is specifically hardcore HR activities are like, it'll help you better define role, better hiring, training, retention, right? So you can plan little things, so some clarity you get, though there's some tidbits and chips of information from the book you can, especially in roles and career opportunities, and the other places you can probably will be good takeaway for HR professionals. Similarly, for legal and compliance professionals, it helps them appreciate and better understand and oriented towards a more profitable, balanced, compliant, balanced, secure product, right? So it happens both ways. The people from other divisions or departments like marketing, product, sales, pre-sales, and they understand and appreciate the legal and compliance teams better, and the legal and compliance professional will understand others better, and eventually all of you are working towards a common objective to create a product or solution and overcome certain limitations which may be there, and work collaboratively, right? So these are some quick benefits, and I thought it was very important for me to share, because this helps you understand whether this is beneficial to you. Obviously, I've tried to impress upon, give you examples in the initial 6 slides, 6 videos, wherein I gave you introduction, took you through 3 frameworks. Then I basically talked to you about the benefits of framework and the McKinsey study and all those things. But I'm just summarizing and probably giving you more info in terms of how it will benefit you, right? And why you should get that 3F edge. Just like I'm sure most of you have been through agile training, especially as professionals. A similar way, this has to be part of your ecosystem and culture, and you should get 3F edge so that you stand out in terms of ideation, innovation, collaboration, and growth. Now, this brings us to this quote by Mr. Arvind Sankaran, wherein he says that we are witnessing the creative destruction of financial services rearranging itself around customers or consumers. Who does this in the most relevant, exciting way using data and digital wins? And 3F Future Fintech Framework helps you do it in a most relevant and exciting way, and then it does solve other challenges like collaboration, partnerships, and other things, right? Which are critical challenges which we discussed as part of intro. So 3F Future Fintech helps you with exactly what Mr. Arvind Sankaran is saying here. And finally, the question on your minds, and having gone through all the 7 earlier videos, and having started watching this video, is how do you get the 3F edge, which I've been emphasizing and talking about. So how can you basically get that power benefit edge of from this 3F Future Fintech Framework? And this is called 3F edge, right? The first and the most simplest way, the very low cost way, is I have written 3F Future Fintech Framework as a book. This book is available as Amazon globally, as paperback and Kindle options. It's there on Google, Apple, and you can search, and maybe in certain local countries there can be specific vendors who provide that. So that's the most easiest way. The book is very reasonably priced. It's not too heavy, and if you don't want to want it to be too heavier on your pockets, that's the simplest way. At least you get some clarity, and a lot of much more detailed and insights are shared there. That's the simple and the easiest way I recommend for people. But for people who are really curious and who are a little bit more convinced in terms of what I did, take them through all these 7 videos and try to impress upon you on how my framework is unique, the benefits of it, and why you should know a framework. I think that was a very powerful slide where I compared knowledge versus framework, right? And this is something when I was creating the framework, and subsequently when I did my research, this was very eye-opening for me, and I said, why not share it with you all? Otherwise, a lot of us, we download so many white papers, we Google search and read so many articles, blogs. The knowledge is there, right? So I'm not trying to impress upon you that I'm bringing you some very high-end knowledge, but I do bring in some relevant knowledge organized in very unique frameworks which don't exist anywhere, and that's what 3F Future Fintech Framework is all about. And if you are really interested in knowing more, whether you buy the book or not, I strongly suggest that you basically can go in for live online. I also do offline masterclasses wherein people can write to me. I have in the last slide I'll be sharing my email ID. So you can either go in for my live online masterclasses or videos or workshops, or it can be offline. It can be for individuals, or if it needs to be organized for a company, you can write to me even for that. And I conduct it myself. So the benefit between what I've written in a book, though the book is decently detailed and gives you a lot of elements in depth, but I reinforce this with many personal anecdotes, information, and you can probably relate why I wrote this, because sometimes when you read something in a book, you may not be fully able to relate why this was written, right? And when someone who has written it and comes and tells you and explains it to you in a way, you probably get it much easier and simply you imbibe it better. And that's the big difference in the online workshop, wherein there is a lot of depth, experience, relation to it, and probably you'll absorb it better. As a learning, when you hear someone, probably the absorption is better. This is largely true for the masses. So that's the second way you can get 3F Edge for yourself, or within your organizations you can recommend it to your HR teams, or if you are part of your HR teams, you can write to me. I'll share my email ID in the subsequent slide. And finally, obviously, I do consulting based on the 3F Edge, wherein it will help you enhance digital quotient for your products and solutions based on my background, experience, and obviously application of certain thought processes which I have shared in this workshop. So these are three ways in which the first two ways are meant for individuals in terms of understanding and getting trained, and the third way is a larger thing which is for organization, meant for the senior leadership and promotion, the promoters of startups, in case they want to bring a edge to whatever solution or offering they have. They can take the benefit from this particular framework. So these are three ways in which you can get this 3F Edge. And the last quote from Albert Einstein basically is, creativity is contagious, pass it on. This framework will definitely be of benefit to you. I'm sure you can have some takeaways from this introduction session itself, and then I've told you the three different ways you can probably get more insights. The first one being, as an individual, get hold of my book 3F Future Fintech Framework on Amazon and Google and Apple and other options globally. It's available. And second is, you can write to me for workshops, either for individually or for corporates. I do largely online workshops, but offline can be managed if we discuss. And then finally, consulting based on 3F Edge. And as I said, creativity is contagious. Pass it on to others if you really like this video. And this brings us to the conclusion of this 8th video as part of the 8 video series, which is the introduction to 3F Future Fintech Framework. And I take this opportunity to really thank you for having seen all these videos and trying to be interested in knowing more about it. I'm hopeful that there have been quite a few takeaways from this, especially in the last video. I've basically tried to tell you how you can probably get the edge or extend the takeaways you have already had in terms of having more depth and benefiting extensively from 3F Future Fintech Framework. And that's what we discussed as part of the slide, the 8th video. And feel free to write to me at futurefintechframework@gmail.com. Happy to maybe interact and if possible answer most of the queries, and happy to do the workshops and engage with you if you are interested in having the consulting and getting the edge, the consulting edge or the edge through the workshops which I proposed. Thank you.